Math is a wonderful thing.
It's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be
Math is a
legendary.
really cool thing. Let's do some math, 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 math.
Here we're going to find slope based on a graph. Okay, and we remember that slope is rise over run. So we can use this graph here to find what the slope of the line is that is there. So we want to find what the slope is. M equals something. Okay, and what we need to do is simply we want to count the rise from this point, from one point to another point. So from this point down here to this point. We count the rise, and then we'll count the run. So let's count. So if we start at this right here, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we went up 4. We went from the first point to the second point. It took us 4. We went up, so that's positive. Up is positive, so we know that our rise is going to be 4. M equals 4. Okay. Now we got to find the run. How far the first one is from the second one in terms of right and left. So that would be, we could count this now. We go 1, 2, and then 3. Gets us 3. Now we went to the right, so that would be positive. Okay. So our slope is going to be 4 over 3, 4/3. Pretty easy. Now we have a different line here, and this one we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find the rise over the run, and we're going to start at this point, start at the point on the left, and go to the second point, the point on the right. Now you can use any 2 points to make sure that they're actual points that match up on the coordinate grid. So if we start there, and we're going to count, and we're counting down this time. So 1, 2, 3. So we went down 3, so this is going to be -3 for our rise. Now we got to count how far we go over. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And since we went to the right, that's positive, so we have -3 over 4. And that one's pretty easy there too. We have another line here, but this is one of these special lines that we should already know what the slope is. Since it's a horizontal line, straight left and right, we know that the slope is going to be 0. Don't need to do anything. We just know it by looking at it. The slope is 0. Now we've switched and we have a vertical line, and this is another one that we should just know. Okay, and we know that when the line is vertical, straight up and down, that the slope is going to be undefined. Undefined. Slope is undefined. And there you go. Those are some examples on how to find slope based on looking at a graph of a line. And here we have the equation of a line, y equals 2/3 x plus 3. And we're going to take this and we're going to actually graph the line. So to do that, first we want to have the slope. So m equals, and we need the y-intercept, which would be b equals. Because remember, m is slope and b is the y-intercept. So if we look up at the equation up here, we see that the slope is going to be 2/3, so 2/3, and that the y-intercept right here is going to be 3. So now what we do is we start with the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is actually where the line crosses the y-axis. Remember that the y-axis is going to be this one here, the one that goes up and down, the vertical one. Okay, so we need to look for 3. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to put a dot right there on the 3. Pretty easy. Now we got to work with the slope. And remember that slope is actually rise over run. So the first number here, the 2, is going to be our rise. So from that first point we did, we're going to go up 2. 1, 2. And we're going to look for our run, which is 3. So we went up 2, 1, 1, 2, and now we're going to go over 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's where our second point is going to be. I just made little marks there to help with the counting. Can't really see my finger this time. Now we've got 2 points. We can draw a line through there. Obviously you'll want yours to be straighter than that. But there you go. That's one right there. Pretty easy. Now we've got another one here. We have y equals negative 2x minus 3. So again, we're going to need the slope and the y-intercept. If you look over here, the slope is going to be negative 2. So we're going to change that into a fraction and get negative 2 over 1. Wow, that's not even any better. Negative 2 over 1. We'll come over here and look. What's the constant over here? It's negative 3, so we know that our y-intercept is negative 3. So we start with negative 3. Remember, it's on the y-axis, so we're going to go down to negative 3. Put a dot right there. Oops, I'm going to make it black so you can see it better. Negative 3. And then remember that slope, again, is rise over run. So our rise is going to be negative 2, so we need to go down 2, and then over 1. And the 1 is positive, so we'll go to the right. Down 2 and over 1. Down 2, over 1. Be right there. Get your 2 points. Draw the line. And there you go. Now we're going to kind of work backwards here. Now we have the line on the graph, and we're going to figure out what the slope and the y-intercept is from the graph, and then we're going to write the equation of this line in y equals mx plus b format. So we'll leave that y equals up at the top, and we're going to figure this out. Now the easiest one to do is to figure out the b, the y-intercept. So where does the line cross the y-axis, this vertical axis here? So we got to look, and it's right here, and that's at negative 1. So we know that our b is negative 1. So that part's easy. Now, as we learned before, we can count the rise and the run between 2 points to figure out the slope of a line. So we're going to do that, because remember that slope is the rise over run. Okay, so if we start here down at this one that we already got circled, we can count up. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we know that our rise is 3. So over here for m, we can go 3. And since we went up, it's going to be positive. So let's look at this, and now let's count the run. So I have 1 and 2. So we know that the run is 2. So we have both of them. So now we have both of the numbers that we need, so we can plug it in. So y equals mx plus b. M, our slope, is 3/2, so we can plug in 3/2 or 3 over 2. Then we have our x plus our b, or our y-intercept, is negative 1. Negative 1. And there we go, boys and girls. Not too difficult.